The chair is going to inquire, is there anyone taping this meeting? And please let themselves be known. Hearing none, we'll call the meeting to order. And Jeremy, would you like to call the roll?
Certainly. Jim, are you here?
Present.
Jim Sproul is present. Jeremy, I am also present. And
Mark is
not a member, but Mark is also present.
Okay. There are on the agenda the approval of March 11th meetings. I'm going to table that for next time, please. And so why don't we just get right into the actual document itself. So as of now, we have had everyone on our team review it. Mark today made some review comments. I'm going to share those now. And I'm not sure what are you seeing.
Yep.
Okay. You just increase the view a little bit. Is that, can you see this?
Yeah. Oh, that's much better.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. So everything from a few minor edits here, but nothing has changed at all other than editing on the first 2.5 pages. There's a dialogue. Mark had some comments regarding the significance of totaling these individual funds because of the way the work is conducted throughout a fiscal year. A project can slip from one year to the next, and really skewing the totals column. And after taking a look at the comments, I made a decision to remove the total at the bottom of this table. And Mark, if you want to add any more comment or color to that.
Yeah, just to share with Jeremy our conversation earlier today, the reason why I suggested we remove that row is that not every project that's submitted in a fiscal year gets funded. So then it becomes part of the submissions for the following year. And so we're counting, in many cases, we're counting the same project in multiple fiscal years here. So the total line would be skewed because it includes the same project perhaps for multiple fiscal years if that project never got funded and it keeps getting carried forward, which is the case for many of them. So the total line could be misleading.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. You don't want to have one project count for many years. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
So let me just see if I can reverse that. Excuse me, just one second. That really jumped me forward. Throughout the rest of the document, there was other minor changes, numerical. Let me just see if I can reviewing. So here, I just corrected the number that was 30. I changed it to 29. Mark caught a miscalculation on my part. The FY26 was 66 million, and that was caused. It was a reduction of $103 million from FY25. I had it just reversed. I had it showing an increase. So I'm going to wait until the very end, and unless we have questions, to start accepting things, it seems to throw things out of skew here a little bit.
Yeah, that works.
Mark made a good suggestion about having a few. We had 3 initially. I added 2 more just to give a little more context to the size of the project that we'll have going on over the next 5 years.
Yeah, the table looked a little small with just 3.
Okay, so after our discussion, there's this text here of note is the fact that was already supplied in a previous. Oh, hold on. Just make sure I got this. Yeah, this covered something that was taken care of on page 8, in which we talked about a range of things here. So it was kind of a rehashing. The financial considerations and funding strategies was just a rehashing of that paragraph on page 8. So for the purpose of saving space in a document, there's no reason in repeating yourself. So I chose to take that out. And then finally, there's a little bit of language. General obligé, GA. And then let's see. And then Mark, after our conversation, I left this in, but I think your point is that there's minimal revenue being expected from the assessments, et cetera, but it's still too new in the assessing process to take it out. But so I left it in, just looking at it as something to track in the future, knowing that taxation will be the main source of revenue for this. Any questions there on that?
No, I think it looks good to me.
And then that was really the last edit that needed to be accounted for.
Yeah, I read through it this morning, or after you'd sent out the updated version. I think it reads as smoothly as one can expect of a document like this. It tells the story that we wanted to tell. It brings up questions we want to be brought up. So I personally was very happy with it.
Yeah, and just a couple of other suggestions I had, Jeremy, that Jim and I talked about earlier today, that in the future, and perhaps maybe next year, it's too late this year, to expand upon the story that CFAC tells here, we may want to look at a 10-year history of what has been funded, so that we can try to gauge whether or not our commitment towards the capital program is growing. And secondly, we may want to look at a history of what is getting deferred every year and what that unfunded liability, how that is trending. So just a couple of things to consider for future reports that we talked about earlier today that I think would help expand upon, the story that you want to tell.
Yeah, I think both of those are really great points. I mean, I think hyping up what the town has done is a great idea. It seems like maybe sometimes gets funded, work gets done, and then people move on and don't reflect. But I think sitting at that meeting back on January 6th, and I mean, it was clear that of the people in the room, there was those projects that kept coming up, and they all knew about it. And it was just this, those houses on whatever it was, C Street, that have the paintings in the basement, like, oh, there they are again. And bringing that to light of, are we accomplishing anything by putting this on the list every year? Is there another way we can approach this? So I think bringing up that's I think a great idea for next year too.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. So figure out a way to make that happen. Maybe even do an interim like we did with the funding, for the CWMP, maybe do a separate, just a one document report on the topic to get it started.
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes like even with the schools, my class was the one that we got onto the CIP, the high school bathrooms that last year got funded. And, that's a project my students had brought attention to facilities back in 2019. And, those kids are all graduated. People don't even, then I'm sitting there like, oh, I want to look at that. And I'm going back through documents. I'm like, oh, look, it got funded. This is great. So I think those things that people do care about that, we got to remind them of.
Okay. Well, I'm going to save this document and put it in the old versions, and then I'm going to go through and edit that in preparation for next Monday's meeting. So,
Perfect.
Okay with that?
Yep, and I'll put the report on the agenda for the full committee next Monday night. I was just putting the agenda together, and I'll get that sent out to all the committee members soon.
Okay. Should I send any instructions? I mean, it's what I will not, which I do not want to do. And Jeremy, you've only had the pleasure of sitting through a couple of these, but to doing the dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and I mean, that will be our role. I don't want to sit in front of the whole committee and spend an hour.
Yeah.
But if there are concepts like Mark shared today, where he shared a vision of something that should be would better the report, then that's a different story. But if something's FY25 and should be spelled out fiscal year 2020, we're not doing that. So I will try to word that appropriately.
Awesome. Yeah, the grammar we can tackle elsewhere.
Well, thank you very much. I will take care of that and get this out later on this evening.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for doing everything you have done.
My pleasure. Hey, Mark, a question for you. Tomorrow is that harassment. I guess should we close the meeting?
Oh yeah, we should close. Yeah.
A motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'm an aye.
I as well. Okay, thank you.